Welcome to the Dave Pamah Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Pamah.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Pamah Show. And today, I'm joined by John Goldman, founder of Rebel Health Alliance, who was told he was fine in his mid-40s while heading towards pre-diabetes. And instead of accepting it, rebuilt his body, reversed the condition, rejected biohacking hype, and is now publicly chasing Boston Marathon qualification through his bold mission, Project Unreasonable. John Goldman, welcome to the Dave Pamah Show.
Thanks very much. That's a great introduction. Loved it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I do try and give a rock starry intro before you walk through the door.
I'm hyped. I'm super hyped.
Thank you very much, John. Well, John, take me back to the exact moment you realized you were fine or your fine wasn't good enough. What were you feeling physically and mentally? What identity did you have to confront or let go of? And what was the first disciplined action you took that proved to you that this wasn't just a health tweak, but a complete rebuild?
Yeah, that's a terrific question. And the context for this is that I had been paying for what was considered fancy primary care back then. It was called One Medical. And, it was fancy because you could get an appointment really quickly and you could text message your doctor. And we would get labs done and he would look at the labs and he'd be like, this is fine. This is fine. Oh, that's fine. Elevated liver enzymes, that's fine. Cholesterol a little high, that's fine. I don't even think they were checking my A1C. And in this context of really seeing a doctor, paying extra money to think I'm getting good doctoring, and waking up yet still every day feeling like crap. And I was about 46 and I was waking up feeling terrible every day and feeling terrible all the time. And I thought to myself, like, if this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life, this is not good. This is a bleak future because, man, it never gets better as you get older if you don't do anything, right? And we have this idea that as we age, we're just destined to become feeling worse and performing under our prior expectations. And I just happened to be speaking to a friend of mine who was tapped into real cutting edge science. And I said to him, man, these people that are 50 years old and say, hey, I feel better than I ever felt, they're full of crap, right? And he said, no, actually, there are people 50 years old who do feel better than they have in a long time and are feeling better every single day. And I was like, that is not me, man. And, my personal context was that I was a business owner and a family man and had always worked out and had always been active and knew kind of what to eat and whatnot. And yet I still at 46 go to bed every night feeling like I was going to war and waking up feeling terrible and just not having the energy that I needed to live. And so together, he and I undertook a whole series of tests that I had never even heard of at the time, like a DEXA scan, which is a full body composition and analysis, especially looking at your visceral fat content, which is inside of your abdomen and can lead to all kinds of...
You can get that measured, the visceral fat content. You can get that measured, can you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Through a DEXA scan and through an MRI scan.
All right, yeah.
The DEXA is only a couple $100, so it's really high value.
Yeah.
And then we did a liver ultrasound, and we did very comprehensive blood work and some DNA testing, and the blood work came back and was like, man, your A1C is over 6. You're pre-diabetic on your way to being diabetic. And if you know anything about diabetes, if it's left untreated, you end up getting neuropathy and your skin and body starts to die while it's still attached to you and you get your foot cut off. I was on my way to that and didn't even know it. And I had fatty liver disease and my cholesterol was all jacked up and my inflammation scores were through the roof. And it was finally with this full diagnostic picture and in talking to somebody who actually cared about me and was willing to put in the work to help me understand it, did I finally get a sense of like, why was I feeling terrible all the time, despite being stronger than almost every guy I knew and active, etc. And so we implemented a series of protocols over the next 6 months that included really cutting my diet down, eating the right foods, taking the right supplements, doing the right exercises, getting my sleep dialed in, taken care of. I discovered I had sleep apnea through a sleep study that I did. I got that treated. 6 months later, I was back to having a six-pack, sleeping through the night, A1C normal, inflammation scores normal, cholesterol normalized, and was feeling better than I could possibly remember. I joke like, yeah, I'm feeling better than I did in my 20s because I don't know, I can't remember how I felt then anyway. So I'm feeling great. And that was the beginning. And I realized then if me, a busy, educated, professional guy with a family and a job and a life, could see the value in this type of service, which had a transformative effect on me personally and spillover effects to my family and my business, that other people out there would want it. And that's how Rebel Health Alliance was born, out of that personal journey. And now we've served over 1,000 people all across the United States, implementing cutting edge technologies, using the latest diagnostics, and giving people comprehensive plans to really get their health completely dialed in.
Wow. Well, that is pretty much a good introduction of what you went through there, really. There's plenty of questions I'd like to ask you, really, but let's go back to when you said you was a pretty reasonably fit, guy at first and always, working out. So what was your background before all this happened? I mean, was you a bodybuilder or did you just
I was a high school athlete, multi-sport high school athlete. And then as an adult, I was a Muay Thai kickboxer. I won a couple of amateur titles as an amateur. I did CrossFit for 10 years. I did yoga for almost 10 years. I did a lot of powerlifting and bodybuilding. And I mean, the one thing I did have going for me is I had a really big muscular base, and that was really helpful in my process of shedding the fat and getting
well, there's
lean.
different muscle types, isn't there? So there's some people that do get muscular very easily, and then there's people that are so thin they can't really they'd have to work really hard at it, and then there's obviously I think it's mesomorph, endomorph, and the other one I can't remember.
Ectomorph.
Then the other one's like a sumo wrestler type person. Not saying that they're unfit, it's just their body type, so well,
in our experience, what I've seen is that people who think that they can't gain muscle are not lifting the right way and not eating enough.
Yeah.
And when they finally do lift the right way and eat enough calories, it really becomes like a simple math equation in terms of lift the weights, eat the food, sleep, and then the muscle comes.
Yeah.
But that muscular base and that athletic background certainly gave me a good head start into getting things optimized. And the irony of it is that at age 50, I'm running marathons. I'm trying to actually lose some of that muscle mass that I had built over the last 20 years because being a big, bulky bodybuilder type guy trying to run marathons doesn't really work. You got to be a little bit more Greyhound-like in this case.
But some people are heavy boned as well, aren't they? I mean, I'm not saying you are because I don't know you, but some people just, I mean, running marathons, obviously, if you want to be, I don't know, a world champion or Olympic champion, you're going to be doing that from the outset, but you're doing,
Dave, I would say that being big boned is cope and it's not a real thing. I think that it is something that your friends and family tell you to make you feel better about not being overweight.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. But some people do have a big build though. They're quite wide. I mean, I was labeled stocky, but I was a middle distance runner at school. From school onwards, that was my sport. But I did other sports like football was a big thing, so you can't miss it. We always played it in a playground, things like that at work. But actually, track and field ended up being the main thing I did on an Olympic level. So
congratulations.
800 meters. I was a sprinter type. I could put on weight and lose weight as I want, but within a range.
Have you ever had a DEXA scan? I think the thing about the DEXA scan is that all the lies melt away when you get the DEXA scan because it takes an image of your subcutaneous fat, your muscle mass, your bone density, the size of your skeleton. Yeah. And when you get that done, all this, oh, he's just stocky or big boned or whatever, kind of goes out the window, and we just have the cold hard facts. But there's definitely different body types that people fall into through their habits and their food and their lifestyle and the things that they do on a day-to-day basis. But in our practice, we have not seen anybody unable to transform their body type through diligent adherence to the protocols, because at the end of the day, it does become simple math.
Yeah. But you just say earlier also that it was someone that cared about you that almost gave you that epiphany, you could say, or just turn things around for you. Because I know in America, especially, it's a marketplace, and really money gets in the way, really. Whereas in the UK, it's kind of like, well, it is a marketplace a bit, but we've got the National Health Service, which kind of like gives universal healthcare, which is free if you pay your taxes and things like that. However,
at no additional cost.
Well, you try and find a dentist you don't pay for in the UK. You have to pay for things there. But obviously it's free to a point where, I mean, I'm 60, so 61 actually. Sorry. So my medication's free. For example. But
the care, the real intent, the empathy, the human touch, the interest in your progress, the accountability that relationship provides. As an athlete, I'm sure you had coaches in your life that really were able to get the best out of you. And in my experience as a trainee, the best coaches for me are not only the ones that have the most knowledge, but are the ones that I don't want to let down.
Yeah.
And when you have a physician that's like that, when you have a team of people, because we give everybody a strength trainer and a conditioning coach and a dietitian as well. Yeah. When you build these relationships and you have that accountability and you think to yourself, well, if I don't do this, then I'm going to have to talk to my doctor and tell him why I didn't do it. And I don't want to have that conversation. It also helps spur greater accountability. Yeah. And so, especially in this era of AI and people talking about AI replacing doctors, whatnot, I think that AI is going to be a terrific tool for physicians, but it will never replace the human relationship, because that is that energy, that accountability, the care, the empathy, the understanding, and really brings out the best people in their performance, even if it's executive coaching, or if it's business coaching, or if it's mental health coaching, or if it's athletic coaching, or if it's health coaching, or if it's your medical care. It's that energy that gets created through trust and honesty and open communication and predictability and confirmation. That's the secret sauce in pulling together all these new technologies, the AI-powered diagnostics and the latest tests and the latest protocols, and distilling all these longevity ideas down into something that people can actually do on a day-to-day basis. Being able to have that physician care about you is really the mystical part that makes it all happen, in my mind.
No, I agree with you. I mean, and they do say actually, nothing. I mean, definitely with therapy and mental health, you can't replace that with AI. You can have an in between thing, and it's the same with coaching as well. You need that kind of personal feel to it, because they can't tell emotions, they can't read emotions. I was watching this documentary, a British documentary about robots. Are they taking over people's job? Now you mentioned, they're going to take over doctors' roles, but it's quite amazing what AI robots are doing. And,
maybe I think for sure, like radiology interpretation, surgical procedures.
Yeah, robotic surgeries and things like that. That's happening already now.
For sure, right? Because the steady, precise hand of a robot is certainly superior to a human's, especially if the human is guiding the robot and doing the procedure, right?
You still need someone there to do that, don't you, really? That's the thing. And obviously that doesn't involve human interaction, because it's a solo kind of type job, really. Or maybe you have a team behind you still. But however, they're actually putting out, even in America, they've already got it, but in London it's going to happen towards the end of this year, I think, driverless taxis. And I always like a good talk. I mean, I've even tried taxi drive when I was younger, before I joined the fire service, and I mean, it's going that way now. I can't imagine how they're having driverless taxis in London, but they showed.
I have a Tesla with the full self-driving, and it's absolute magic, man. It is. Okay, it drives itself. It makes decisions. It stops at emergencies. It goes around things. I mean, it is absolutely mind-blowing how good it is. The car drives itself. It truly does.
So what do you do? Just stay at the wheel and make sure that
you just sit there and watch out the window, and if something really bad happens, you take over. But it really happens super infrequently. We have them already in the United States in a number of cities. The self-driving taxis. So
Tesla.
Stuff like that.
But going back to what we were saying, because obviously we don't want to go off the point of health and everything like that. So this guy, who's I assume is the doctor, turned your life around because he cared about you. Because you do get doctors that in America, it's more about money. In here, it's more about I've got too many patients. I'm burning out as a doctor, and I just can't cope with it. And it's like they could even make a mistake. So they won't give you the care they need because of the workload. It's like, try that and don't come back for 2 weeks. Whereas you manage.
It's very similar in the U.S. though. I mean, the primary care physicians here usually have thousands of patients in their panel, and they're seeing any great number of patients per day, and they really limit your visits to 7 to 10 minutes. And they walk in, they grab the report, they read the report right then. That's the only time they've thought about you, is right there in those 2 seconds. And you're in and you're out, and it's always rushed, and you never get to talk to them. One thing that we pride ourselves on in our service at Rebel Health is that our visits are unrushed. They are virtually untimed. You have unlimited communication. You can text your doctor directly. You can have next day telehealth visits. You can see their face and talk to them just as much as you need to. And that's the level of service we're aiming to provide that goes above and beyond what you get from your typical primary care practice paid for by insurance here in the U.S., because they're all burnt out as well.
Yeah, but then I mean, you don't use AI for any of that to kind of help assist with all that, do you? I mean, we use
AI in every part of our business, whether it's marketing, sales, operations, development, coding,
it makes it efficient, basically.
Absolutely. Our goal with AI is to make all of our human partners super powered, rather than replace them.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, so now you met this doctor that was really cared about you. You found out through the Dexter, what's it called?
DEXA scan, DEXA.
That you had. If I finally found out you had diabetes, is it the reversible kind? I mean, I assume you're fine now.
Yeah. So there's 2 types of diabetes: type 1, where you're born with it, and type 2, where you kind of, frankly, you eat yourself into it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you can change that, and you can reverse it. And my A1C now is 5.0, which is it's as low as you really want to go. And my blood work is totally optimized. I definitely feel better than I can remember. I'm 50 years old. I'm running marathons. I'm as lean as can be. My energy's through the roof, and we were able to solve all those problems.
Yeah. Did you start marathon running as part of this kind of transformation when you found out?
So I did my transformation. I got to where I wanted to go, and then I realized that, okay, now what's next? And I wanted to, set a new challenge for myself, and I had never really conquered running. And I decided in early 2024 I was going to start running, and I could barely run a mile at that time. And
I know the feeling, because I was the same, where I kind of like got a little bit. Well, it does go up and down when you get older. Your metabolism, already, your metabolism goes up and down anyway. It's not the same as when you're 20, when you burn anything that you eat, kind of almost, So
and we're all
if you let it go,
We're generally much more active in our 20s as well.
Yeah, exactly, that as well. Yeah.
And I firmly believe that we can stoke our metabolisms even late in age.
Oh, absolutely.
Proper muscle mass and proper activity.
There are 50, 60, 70, 80 even year olds that are just look real like that. I've seen some in the gyms, or going out running, and it's like, what? It's like that.
A lot of our members are age 40 to 60, and our goal for them, besides putting them through our 10-step longevity protocol, is for them to be badass grandparents. That's what I want for myself. I want to be 75, leading my grandkids on fun vacations, hiking, surfing, traveling, being high energy, playing catch with them. I remember my grandparents, even in their 60s, they were pretty much cooked. And that's not going to be me.
Yeah, that was the look when I was a kid growing up, and then obviously that things change, the diets and everything else. They found out about things that you couldn't really eat in the 70s and 60s, and it's like, whoa, And I know America has a problem with obesity. The UK to a certain degree does as well,
Oh yeah, the obesity problem in the United States is epic proportions. More than half of America is overweight.
And they need guys like you, Rebel Health, and whatever services. So tell us more about Rebel Health before we go.
It's a full service medical practice. We call it high performance medical care. We use all the latest diagnostics. We create custom plans for you, give you all the coaching and support that you need to get them accomplished. We are not settling for fine. We're not settling for okay. We are aiming for optimal, and we're aiming for disease prevention, and we're aiming for you to be a badass grandpa or grandma at 75. Active, vigorous, virile, potent, powerful, running around, jumping around at 75, which is entirely possible. If anybody out there is listening and they're in their 70s and they can't do it right now, you can do it, and it's never too late to start. Just get on it.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. As I say, I've gone up and down as a yo-yo. I was fitter at 60 than I was at a time when, it wasn't really my fault in a way. I was told to stop because I still have a heart condition, but then they said, no, start, but you can't do competitive sports, as in running masters, a really high intensity. So
that's too bad. So you're doing,
but when I stopped,
a lot of zone 1 and 2 jogging around now.
Yeah. So it's a kind of vigorous maximum that I would do is vigorous kind of zone. So I don't know which zones they're in, but I've got a watch that just gives me a warning if it's in the red area. So too high, and that's only for my life and death situation, really, to make sure that I don't. But anyway, I don't like talking about it. I don't mind talking about my health issues because I relate it to what you're talking about, But what I'm trying to say is I had to stop training when I got told, which is around my early 40s or just after I was 40, and I put on a lot of weight because of that, because I was waiting a long time for all these assessments. I said, oh no, you can start running now, and we even tell people to run marathons when they put pacemakers in and really give it a go, and but you can't do any competitive sports anymore, and I thought, right, that's it. And then I felt like yourself, I found it hard to even run a mile, and running a mile should be easy even for an 800-meter runner or 400, it's
for sure. Jogging one at least.
I was so obese then, it was like,
Well, how did you get that taken care of? What did you do?
Oh no, I mean, I because I knew about my own body, and I was always into fitness from the age of 10, like yourself. In school and high school, particular, I was into all kinds of all-round fitness and sports. So I just made my own. It was really more the mental side, the mindset of getting out there and doing it. Because if you are struggling, because you've let your fitness go, that becomes more of a challenge, just to kind of, and also it's demoralizing, isn't it? So, I used to be like this, and really, kind of like puts you on a downer, and you really don't want to take a few more days off, or otherwise it becomes more and more of a habitual,
Indeed. I have promised myself I'll never make the comeback road ever again, unless there's an injury or something bad happens, and I definitely will. But
yeah, exactly.
My point is that once you get there, you should do everything you can to stay there. Maintenance is not a passive thing; it is an active thing. And for anybody that's thinking about running or didn't run before, I promise you, the first part is really hard.
Yeah,
it sure is. But once you break through after a few months, it becomes really enjoyable. The benefit that you get is very tangible. You feel better after the run if you do it the right way. It gives you more energy. It gives you more life. It doesn't wipe you out, and it becomes less and less of a slog and more of a joy, to where I now go to bed at night thinking about my run the next morning and how excited I am that I get to do it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, you remind me of the days when I was obviously doing Olympic kind of trial levels, and actually, I do miss those days. And obviously, as a firefighter as well, I had to keep muscularly fit as well as the aerobic capacity, both together. Everything really, mindset, a lot. You had to catch up your sleep. You had to kind of find a way to de-stress and everything. It all adds up into your body really, and it's a holistic thing, really, isn't it? And I'm sure your company does things holistically.
Absolutely. From sleep to diet to exercise to supplements to sunlight to stress management, mental emotional resilience,
nutrition, hydration, everything. Yeah. Well, when is your Boston Marathon debut, before we go in?
I'm running the Indianapolis Marathon on November 7th as my Boston qualifying attempt. And we're taking 2 hours off my marathon time over the course of this year. I'm running now 40 miles a week, cross training 5 days a week on top of that.
Yeah.
And we're building to 70 miles per week by summertime when we get into the dedicated marathon training block. And the goal is to run a 3:15 marathon in Indianapolis in November.
Yeah, that's good going. 3:50. I'll never run a marathon actually. As I said, I still was speed based, so I could still with a lower, even without doing I could run it on my anaerobic capacity, an 800 meters, but then I'd struggle with the 15, and a lot of guys would beat me.
That's why the training is so much in zone 1 and zone 2, so much slow capacity, so much at lactate threshold 1.
That's
definitely far away from anaerobic. We'll definitely do some training like that, but marathon is definitely an aerobic activity.
Yeah.
If you're anaerobic in your marathon, you are cooked.
You'll be cooked. Yeah, you wouldn't even hit the wall by 20 miles.
No, you're totally cooked.
I mean, in 400 and 800 meter running, it's you hit the wall before you get to the finish straight. Once you,
oh gosh, I can imagine.
It's called treading water. You see people kind of really struggling and going backwards. It's like a train going that way and another one going backwards. That's the wall for.
It's a full VO2 max exertion. I've done my 800 repeats. I know what it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
They're pretty bad. But the crazy part about running a 3:15 marathon is that it's like a 7:20 something pace.
Yeah.
And for most people, that's a sprint. And then we're going to do that for 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah. But, some marathon runners, they can run a decent 1,500 meters on the track. But they'll still throw in an 800 meters as a sprint. And it is a sprint to them, because if you've got a guy running 48, 49 for the first lap, they never even know what that feels like, a marathon runner, do they? So.
Yeah, no, it's totally
but anyway, let's not go there because obviously that was my thing as well. But I wish you the best of luck with that. And how can people find out about Rebel Health and
go to the website, please, rebelhealthalliance.io. But the best way is to just find me on Twitter at x.com/John Goldman is the easiest way there, or on Instagram at John Goldman _.
Excellent. Well, John, it's been a perfect conversation with you. I really enjoyed it. We could talk forever about training and capacities, and we probably started baffling some of our non-running or non-sports athletes here with all the 10.
If you have any questions, hit me up in the DMs on Instagram or on X. I try to respond to everybody.
Absolutely. Well, John, thanks very much for coming and talk to my audience today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Dave.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening, and remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts, or head over to my website, davepalmer.com, and click on Rate Show. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Pamah Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.